Hello, it's Storytelling Ron, and this video is about can a Christian play Dungeons and Dragons Part 2? No, I've changed my mind. Actually, I haven't changed my mind. Wizards of the Coast has changed their mind. So you cannot play Dungeons and Dragons anymore. And you can play Dungeons and Dragons if you want, as a Christian. But let me give you the points as to why I've changed my mind. And it's not even because of Dungeons and Dragons. I think you can play Dungeons and Dragons. The moral issue of it all, role playing. What's the problem is that they're going woke. They're going woke and they're changing it. Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, like Disney. I mean, they're pushing gender pronouns. They're pushing sexual stuff like LGBTQT, which is obviously Christians were family, whatever. And if that's what they want to do, fine. I'm just not, I don't want to. It's too much. It's going too much. They're putting it in the product now. They're coming out with that one D&D, and I don't know what they're doing, but I don't care anymore. My heart is not into it. If you're a Christian and you love Dungeons and Dragons, you want to play, that's fine. But think about this: if you play with your children, or are you, then they're going to want to play D&D, and look where it's going. And there's so many alternatives out there that are fun, and we're at the stage in our life, our evolution, civilization. I don't believe in evolution, but our evolution that role playing games is in our psyche now. So it's not a new weird concept. It's something that every one of us can immediately grasp, because a lot of people, kids and or adults now, we've played computer games where you have all the little stats for your characters, and you immediately get that now for when you do a role playing game. And I am developing a Christian role playing game. My point here, well, I'm going to get to that towards the end here, but the point is that I have mothers and actresses and actors who've never played a role playing game, old guys, that I'm gathering together to make a Christian RPG game and series. Boom, they just get it, start playing. Very, very simple and fun. So it's in our psyche now that we can do any kind of role-playing game. So I am saying to you, don't play Dungeons and Dragons, not because of the morality issue, but because it's not for us anymore. And you don't want to support things that you don't have to. Like I still have HBO Max and Netflix, right? And they've got some pretty bad shows, but they also have some Christian stuff on them. Although HBO Max is pretty bad, but there's certain things on it that I do like. What is my point there? My point is that I want to go to a Christian one, but boy, entertainment wise, I still got some crazy entertainment, desires, needs, whatever. The point being that you can totally drop out of D&D and find as wonderful, cool, fun role-playing games out there. So, because anybody can make a role-playing game now. Anybody can make a homebrew or a OSR, old school, or Renaissance, old school revival, old school role-playing game that feels like the old Dungeons and Dragons, where you don't have all this, the woke agenda coming in, where a goblin is evil, an orc is evil. You don't attribute orcs with black people or whatever the heck they're doing nowadays at all. So you can totally make or do a fun dungeon dwelling dungeon or whatever game and just have fun. There's so many indie small, even TSR is coming out with the non-woke, the son of Gary Gygax, the elder, is coming out with their TSR stuff. So there's so many games to play that you don't have to deal with this woke stuff. I would like for us Christians, probably the easiest way is when June comes around, see which publishers are just doing game stuff as opposed to Pride stuff, and then you're like, okay, let me look at what their products are, because in June's a good way to discern which ones are want to push the gay agenda and which ones don't, just want to be a game. So, and then of course in December, if they're going Merry Christmas, I definitely want to look at their product line then, because they're okay with that. And look, all of you woke people out there, see, do the opposite. Fine, go, you do whatever you want and take those. I guess the only I have is like how the woke comes in and takes old products and then makes them woke, as opposed to just making your own product that's woke. And that's really the I think the big argument too amongst us conservative, whatever political, that like Superman, Batman should be always the way they are and not change to woke. And then if you want to make a woke character, that's totally fine. Go ahead, but just don't change the. But whatever. Anyway, so I guess this is just my answer now. I don't recommend you playing Dungeons and Dragons because it's becoming incredibly woke and pushy on that and preachy. And to look for, there's so many OSRs out there, so many indie publishers out there. Look for one that's just a game, just a fun game where, yes, you can play a war. Okay, let me go on the issues of Warlock and Wizard and playing those as a Christian or a cleric who worships other gods. And if you want to look up Brian Tubbs, and it's kind of in the middle of the video here, I just did an interview with him about this. He's a pastor, a senior pastor who plays with me when he can. Pastors are hard to get into games. Let me tell you, first, it's hard to find them. And then second, when you do, they're 24/7 with their church, with their members. And so whenever I try to schedule something with these guys, I should be like throwing my chair around how many misses and cancellations these two pastors have done to me, and then yet keep wanting to try. Like, why are you here? But another story. But anyway, Brian Tubbs, Tubbs, he has his own channel on YouTube, and he did an interview with me, and I did it earlier this morning with him. But I'm making a video here for my channel about D&D and wokeness and and Christians playing role-playing games. So if you play, can you play a warlock or a cleric who worships another thing, right? And the Brian Tubbs one, I talk about that too. But we are discerning people. We can be creative and play a villain, or play a villain that we want to, have a character arc where they become good. You can play a warlock who has made a pact with the devil. I don't particularly care for devil. Or a warlock who's made a pact with a fiend or a Cthulhu thing, an ancient old one, or some sort of weird god, and then you get your powers. But see, what you're doing is you're going out to do good, and this pact you made with him is a dichotomy where it gives you this, that's your sin, and you got to be born again, and I'm just going to be related to Christian. In other words, we do want to play bad characters who become good or who fight for good nonetheless. Role-playing games allow you and me to have fun and explore these different story elements. In D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, and other role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons, like I said in the video, it's like a Walmart of fantasy. They just throw everything in there, or they used to anyway. Now they're taking things out, which is sort of annoying. They throw everything in there in this Walmart, and when you and I go to some big superstore, you don't need everything in there. You just pick what you want and get out. That's what D&D really is. That's why they have so much stuff in there, like all these different cleric, idols and pagan, sort of pagan things. Is they're just trying to create a bunch of fun story stuff that you can work with and play with and create your own stories. And you shouldn't have to always say Jesus or God or the Holy Spirit in your stories. You should have fun doing stuff and just delving into that world, like chess. In chess, you don't want your pawns going over to the next pawn and trying to evangelize them, right? You just want to defeat it. You want to use the rules in that little nice confined space, the specific rules, and then, and in football, you don't want the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman start talking about Jesus Christ, right? You want them to bash each other and see what strength and power they have, okay? That's the whole point of Dungeons & Dragons. You create a set of rules, you work within those rules, have fun. Obviously, like a Walmart, they're throwing all these different sort of story elements on top of it, so you can just, you and your players, or whoever the group, you can have different fun aspects of a game. You can do like an orc goblin based sort of game, where you're fighting orcs and or whatever. Or you could do one where it's all like reptilian lizard wanty jungly thing, or you could do one where there's mummies and undead and their gods and and all that. And your characters are going to worship gods too. But again, this is not about evangelism or Christianity in the sense of evangelism. It's about God gave us the ability to be creative. We need to be creative, and the glory to God is that how creative we can be within the parameters that we set, which don't always have to be a biblical thing. You've got to have fun and do silly things, and obviously you're not going to do something that's going to weaken or affect your weaker brother, right? If your brother is weaker and affected by Dungeons and Dragons and getting pagany or whatever, stop playing and address that issue. Obviously, address that issue, dude. You're taking this way too seriously. This is a game. It's for fun, So sure, But that doesn't mean that the game is evil or bad. It means that person needs to deal with whatever they're dealing with. And this game is not about worshiping gods. It's about just being creative and having a fun time in a certain parameter. You create the parameters of that game: football, chess, Dungeons and Dragons. It's all, you're setting parameters and having fun. But again, I'm at the point now where the people that run Dungeons and Dragons have gone beyond that and are making it idols. They're making idols. They're bringing the idols into it. So that's the example then where St. Paul said, "You're weaker brother." That's where I say, okay, it needs to stop now, because they're not making it a game anymore. They're making it a worship of their idols, right? They're making you worship their idols, making you do their pronouns, you do their sexuality beliefs and their gender beliefs and all that. So that is, I think, the example then I'm going to use, because before it was just a game. Now it is them putting it up to their idols, and so we need to stop playing Dungeons and Dragons. Now I'm still sort of in my YouTube channels. I'm finishing off a couple of campaigns, and because these are the older D&D that didn't really, they did have a couple of things in it, and I took those out, but nothing. It wasn't overwhelming, and most of it was just adventure. So I'm just finishing those up and having fun with them, and then moving on. So what am I moving on to? And I'm gonna do another video on this, but I'll just do it at the end of this one for the fun of it. I am doing a Christian role-playing game. I'm gonna be changing this channel to a Christian RPG here at some point. But the main shows or series that I do on it are going to be on a Christian streaming service. I've got a couple waiting for me to finish a show. I'm doing a show arc with some actors, Christian actors, on the Christian role playing game I'm using. And once I get that all sort of finished up, I'm going to release it all. The game's going to be free. You can download the game for free when I get it going. It's a PDF. The rules are like 10 pages. And 3 or 4 of that is making the character, which is very easy. If you know the rules, you can make a character in a minute or two. And that's how. But I'm telling you, with looking at Dungeons and Dragons and looking at my characters, and say if you played my character as an epic character that you played, say, over a year or two, you can get so much depth into it. It's fun. I'm pretty excited about, all the little. And I have taken from all these OSRs, and put together in Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, and put together sort of and simplified it down, pared it down to what's really approachable. And I'm really excited. I've played over a dozen sessions now with actors and people that have never played this game, and people that have obviously never played my game. I would say 20. I've played 20 sessions so far, with playtesters as well, and I'm pretty excited about this. It's really a lot of fun. And the game to me it's going to be about 2 hours, not 3. It's really quick and short because it goes a lot faster and the combat's a lot quicker and easier, but still scary. And so I'm pretty thrilled about that. So I'm just trying to get these shows. I'm trying to get scheduled. Trying to fit the actors. I want 4 of them all to be able to have that spot open so we can all play at the same time. And get some shows in. Their lives are very busy, etc. But they're helping me. I have like a score of actors, but it's hard to get 4 together. But 4 together consistently, so I could do like a 6-part or 8-part series. We're on part 2. For the group that I'm working with right now. So that hopefully I'll get that done soon. Get the game released. Also, I'm just gonna show you. I think I'll get like a printed version too that like you can purchase. I might do a Kickstarter or something like for hardbound or some cool thing. But this is like the little booklet. I don't know if the light's too glary. Or put it back here. So for the Lord. These are little tokens that you can you'll be able to download and print out. And then there's a map of the north. Oh, it's 6th century northern Italy. You play a missionary, and you're going around to these little villages and planting churches. But you're encountering the Lombards, the Germanic pagans, and some are brutal, some are ready to be maybe converted. You don't know. And there's a lot of pagan activity. Obviously, there's demonic activity. So I am pushing the history, the folklore, the myth to the extreme. I mean, keeping it. Rooted in reality, rooted in history, although I'm going to mix, amalgam of history, mixing the favorite parts around 6th century Italy, 6th century Dark Ages. But I'm going to have witches, demonic, activity. So there's going to be beasts and things like that, and demonic beasts and stuff like that. possessions and all that. So there's some fun stuff in here. It's going to feel like a fantasy, gritty, but also you can do missionary stuff. You can talk to try to convert them, and I got to play the pagans. And that's been kind of weird and fun and tricky and totally new to me. And the rules are literally, let me see here. Like there's a character sheet. The lighting's kind of off, but don't worry, I'll be releasing this for free. So the rules, let me get to, are just this first little section here. And that's that. And look, I've been a DMGM for 40 years. So, and these are the rules. And it's, it's a little loosey-goosey, but that's it. That's the rules for playing the game. And these rules I'm going to be using for the sci-fi version and a post-apocalyptic version. Don't worry, it all works. The rest of this is like campaigny, extra, creatures and info, stuff like that. Stuff. But I'm probably going to separate those out so that you can get this. You'll definitely get some of the basic campaign to start with as a free thing. And then the rest is going to be where you join a Christian streaming service, subscribe to that, and then every show I will have, like that adventure or those assets available after that show that you can download, like a secret link or code or whatever. So you can download and get those tokens, those. Pull this out. Why did I close it? Okay, so you'll be able to print out the little tokens, and cut them out, fold them into fun little tokens here. So the game is all there. You just need to get those D&D dice, D20, it's a D20 system. So you can get the D10, 20, D12, D8, and all that. And then you got your little knights. So this is like a 15th, 14th century German Gothic plate, but whatever. And this is a nun. Now the church is going to be pre-Catholic doctrine, like the hardcore Catholic doctrine. The early church. So that's what these are. And then, and I've got, like this is a boar. We fighting hunting boars, but there's going to be, like could be demonic boars that are scarier. But also, I'm going to have it so that you can print out the setting. You can print out these as the village, and place them down on the piece of paper, and it's black and white and easy to print out. And you plop those down. And let me see if I have, I'll just show you from the book. But you can also print out, hopefully you can see this. Can you see that? I can't see because it's so small over there. I'll come back here. But you're going to be able to print these out, these little pieces of modular passageways, and you can create your own little plop down. And as they move to the next section, you plop down that passage, like that's the lighting or whatever. And as they move to here, you can drop down that little room, the stone room that they're walking into. And so that it's very easy to create your own on-the-fly villages and dungeons and crypts and mines where they have to go, deal with whatever evil is lurking there. So I made it so very simple and accessible. The dice is the only main thing you probably need to get, but it's the full dice, D20 dice, all those. What else? I didn't mean to. I'm going to do another video specifically on this. I'm going to be doing, and the show is also like a tutorial showing you how to play the game, and I even make mistakes in my own game, like when I'm GMing, but that's okay. It's the rules are meant to be a little light and easy for you. So, and I've got to refine some of the rules. I'm gonna touch up some of the rules right now because of the last session I had. But they're minor things, just fun little tweaks that we all do to make our games fun and quick and easy. And I'm centering it now more on story and less on dice rolls, less on the game mechanics and more on role playing and rolling dice. Definitely there's some crunch in there, some combat crunch and fun like that. Okay, so I think that's the video for now. Please go to my storytellingron.com to keep up with the news there. And I'm hoping within a matter of weeks that I can get this done and released. I just got to get this show finished, at least one show, and then work on some more. I'm trying really hard to get some shows going here with Christian actors. Okay, and that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Can Christians play Dungeons and Dragons? No. Can Christians play role-playing games? Absolutely. absolutely you can play role playing games. And there's so many indies out there. Just look around, or and please subscribe to my storytellingraw.com. It's free. And I will release that game as soon as I can, depending on the streaming service and how I work that out with them. You know, it's kind of like I want to see what sort of business model we want to create together with the streaming service. But I do want to make the game itself free for you. And when you get this game, Christians, feel free to make your own home brews with it. I'm going to do an open license. Feel free to make your own campaigns, and if you want to sell them or make your own shows, just give me a little credit for the Lord RPG system or whatever, and I'll figure out the open license contract there. But and if you do it, if you take my game and make your own and make a show or whatever, that'll be two of us. Okay, I'm fine with that. Let's make it 20 or 100 of us doing a For the Lord RPG, whatever campaign in history that you want to do, or if you do like a fantasy version or whatever genre you feel like, zombies, whatever, with missionaries that using the system. That's have at it, sell it, make your own money, whatever you want. Just give me credit if you can, or say that this is storytelling runs are for the Lord RPG. I'll be thrilled. That's my goal here, is for the kingdom of God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. So if you're working for that too, then please do. And I'm happy for you, happy for us, happy for the Lord. Yes, Christians can play role-playing games. Okay, just get away from companies and products that are pushing the woke agenda, and you do have an alternative. Okay, generally speaking. So thanks for watching, and I hope this has been helpful, and I'll keep going. I'm going to keep going. All right.